It starts in a few weeks. A few weeks from now, the BRICS countries meet and convene on changing and going from a global US dollar reserve standard to a BRICS gold-backed currency between the nations of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and many, many other countries. If you've been seeing Andy Schectman, Kiyosaki been talking a lot about this, and this process, kind of like Bitcoin itself. People think Bitcoin was the beginning in 09. Bitcoin is the end of the road. Once you discover fire, you discover wheel, digital scarcity, you don't find it again. Same thing with this. This is the end of the road. The dollar standard has been here since 1964 to 1971, somewhere in that time frame. Officially the end was 1971. This is the end. This is not like the beginning, like, oh, hey, the dollar's going to be around. We're at the end. This is why there's so many birth pangs of this new system coming about, this monetary transition coming about. That's why Bitcoin was discovered. That's why these fixes have been trying to be found for a long time. And you have these countries across the world saying, no more dollar, no more dollar. We're sick of the weaponized dollar beating us down over the heads, and 800 military bases all around the earth, all at our doorsteps. They're done. The American empire is slipping under the waves like the Titanic slowly over 50 years. It's been slowing really since 1913, 110 years since the creation of the Federal Reserve. The American empire has been slowly sinking beneath the waves, and the people that have got off on the Bitcoin life raft have seen it. They see it very clearly. When you come away from the ship, you can see it's going down. It's very easy to see, but when you're on the ship, it's hard, right? It's listing very slowly. It's going under the waves very slowly. There's just a slight tilt to it. It's a slight angle. You don't know it, and when you think of the whole time, your whole life, you've been told, oh, it's not going down. It can't go down. It's the dollar. Aircraft carriers, oil, it's backed by oil. And all these, patriotic euphemisms and all these analogies. And, well, it's 2023. It can't happen. It's a civilized world we live in. And all these things. But unfortunately, humans don't remember that we're still human. Life cycles play out. There can still be mass famine. There can still be mass starvation. There can still be a massive trauma and events that can happen because we are still human, and we live under nature's law. God can do anything he wants, right? He's not here to hurt us, but we have free will. He gave us free will. He gave us that beauty, and we have chosen to do dastardly and moronic things to ourselves over and over and over again, and we choose to continue doing this to ourselves. And much of it is in the intention is great. Much of it is the intention is great, and people want to do well, but they don't educate themselves, right? They don't pay attention. They're apathetic. They're indifferent. They put their head in the sand. They'd rather turn on football. They'd rather watch their fantasy sports team, watch the Kardashians, watch the Golden Globes. They'd rather do something of high time preference. They'd rather do something that feels good in the moment instead of doing something that's good for them long term, or their family, or their kids, or their grandkids. And we see this over and over and over again. Obviously, the most pronounced thing we've seen was the last few years when most people sat down instead of standing up. Not for themselves, right? Maybe you would have got taken out yourself, but for your children and for your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren, most people sat down because life is too good, life is too easy, life is too comfortable, too hard to get out of that chair for someone else, for something else. Just imagine if the 3% would have done that. 3% of people would have done that. Just imagine. That's all it took to fight the Revolutionary War in the beginning, the 3%. And then as things started progressing and the Patriots started winning, then people started coming on board. Wow, what a world. Summer Patriots versus Winter Soldiers. And it all starts in a few weeks. Which way are we going to go? Are you going to go Bitcoin and freedom? Or are you going to go CBDCs, fiat, and slavery? Are you going to go BRICS and more slavery, the more fiat world, right? It's gold backed. You're going to trust China. You're going to trust Russia. You're going to trust India. You're going to trust these governments, more governments made up of conglomerates of people, of human beings that are at fault, that are looking for their own incentives, their own greed, their own fear. That's what Bitcoin monetizes. Bitcoin monetizes greed. It doesn't make humans change. Bitcoin says it's okay to be who you are. Bitcoin will monetize that greed, and everyone aligns incentives and everyone works together. That's what Bitcoin does. That's what neutral money does that captures deflation. It sprinkles the winnings back on all the people and lowers the cost of living and raises the standard of living, while fiat does exactly the opposite. The legacy monetary fiat Titanic, slowly slipping under the wave, dislocates everything. It removes all incentives and removes the wanting and willingness for people to do things that are ethical and moral, and it actually rewards people for being cronies, rewards you for being unethical. As we have seen, no one can argue that. You can't argue any of that. So which are we going to choose? Are we going to choose sound money and freedom, and digital scarcity, deflation, higher standards of living, Bitcoin and freedom? Or are we going to choose more of the same, more systems built on fiat, built on decree, where someone can change it, they can move it, they can move the goalposts, they can change interest rate, they can change the printing, they can take from some and give to others? Are we going to choose that? Are we going to choose that world again? It's up to us. And it starts in a few weeks. The country's meeting, convening, ironically, the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Federal Reserve here meeting right about the same time as well. So buckle up. The end of this month is going to spell the course for the future. But we can choose our own future as well. Individuals, families can choose their own culture, their own future. Are you going to have money outside the system? Are you going to have social media outside the system? Zion, Nostr, Ghost. Are you going to be outside the system? The Orange Pill app. Are you going to be outside the system? Are you going to have food storage? Are you going to have water, ammunition, firearms, security, build community around you? Are you going to be a self-sovereign person and live a self-sovereign way and attract other like-minded people and then flip the system that way? Or are you going to be the lemming? Are you going to be indifferent, apathetic, and not care, and be the lemming going over the cliff with the rest of society? Are you going to be the 97%, or are you going to be the 3%, the patriots who fought and gave the rest of America, and gave the rest of the world America? It's up to us. The time for choosing is now. Only a little bit of time left. But those who fight for objective truth will be rewarded, and history has shown that without a doubt every single time. And one of the easiest ways to prove that is fiat currencies, an abject lie, going opposite of objective truth. Fiat currencies have a 100% failure rate. Not one fiat currency in human history has lasted over the course of 100 years, 200 years, hundreds of years. It never lasts. They've all gone to zero. And a dollar is meeting that same fate. That's what happens when we go into these monetary transitions. We are in that phase now. What are we going to choose? What are we going to choose? It's for our children, our great-grandchildren, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. So I implore you to do the right thing, find objective truth. That's what I'm on a mission for every single day. As we talk about it here all the time, I'm always in a search for it. I never know what it is. I'm trying to get better every single day. I am a sinner. I make mistakes. I do the wrong thing. I'm always trying to get better and learn and grow. I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk. Trust but verify. Question everything with boldness, even the existence of God himself. This is not financial advice. This is freedom advice. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. It's time to prepare.